The relationship between African Americans and law enforcement has been historically complex, from slavery to the civil rights movement to even more current events like BLM, and just the overall idea of systemic racism pushed through the law enforcement system. And we all see this perspective played out time and time again on news and TV and movies. And I think, for me, I wanted some first-hand conversation. Now, this conversation doesn't focus solely on that, but it does focus on what happens when a black man becomes a good officer, or one of the good apples, so to speak. And to hear the perspective and understanding that not all cops are wrong or bad, yes, but at the same time, the story of what happens when someone who sees the historic complexities of law enforcement in Black America actually becomes a police officer. This conversation will help other people to see a perspective that they might not have seen, see the difficulties in balancing the identity of a black man and the job of a police officer, and understanding that you have to take your duty with as much morality as you can and still preserve who you are as a person here in America. So, hope you enjoy this conversation. This is Black in Blue.
Take your time, focus progression, cultivate killer lines, balance with aggression. Don't overdo it, be subtle with your influence. All people want is real, and all that you have is you.
You're listening to Daily Grind with
Y'all ready to rock? I'll be indulgent. What's up? It's your boy Saif. This is Daily Grind. We're always here to motivate and encourage you. Of course, I've told you I keep bringing guests that I'm interested in, and hopefully you'll find perspective, get lessons, and hear stories that you'll never hear, and be motivated to find your purpose and walk in life and make history. So I got my good friend, Detective Darin Williams?
Yes, retired Detective Darin Williams after 30 years on the job.
30 years on the job. Lifelong story. I see a whole bunch of pictures here, history of things that you've accomplished, and people you've met, lives you have affected.
Yes.
I'm here to hear about you.
Yes.
I'm here to hear about your story. So how long have you been a police officer?
I've been a police officer. I came on in 1993, and I just retired of June of 22.
June 22.
30 years. I gave them 30 years. The day of 30, I was out of there.
So you've seen a lot in those 30 years.
I've seen a lot. Myself, I was out there. It was like wearing the cape, my alter ego. I was a superhero in the neighborhood.
Okay. Where did you start off as a police officer?
I started off as a police officer and worked in the community in the McGlory Manor housing projects.
Oh, wow.
And seen a lot down there. There was some of my friends that I grew up with. They went the other road. Some of them were part of the E-Port posse. These were young, rich, and deadly teenagers,
wow.
And some of them, decided to take another path.
So what made you diverge?
And I called my connect, and now he's a longshoreman for the past 3 years, coming November. And discipline. Yes. And then, he's doing well. He's making that long money. He's just coming back from Colombia, Costa Rica, Mexico. He's all over the place. But as I tell him, you got to relax, build your stacks back up so you can, continue to travel. He's been to places I wanted to go, but it's one of those things.
Back then, like my parents, they both had big families, five brothers. So back then it was a little different, like growing up with five brothers.
And he's doing that.
What made you want to
money, he's
enter law
the paper, and
enforcement?
he's traveling the world. The thing was, he never gave me any problems that I have given my mother problems. So it all started from my humble beginnings, and as you would see this article here, which the Star-Ledger had written about me in 2000, from criminal to crime fighter in Elizabeth Odyssey.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't always
So you had 3 kids when you started?
Right. Yes,
so,
when I started,
you know,
back
if
in
you mind, I
93,
can
I
read a
had
little bit
3
of
kids,
this.
and I still have 3 kids.
My
and
life is
now I
very
have,
different from others because
7
I came up
grandkids.
against the grind,
Also,
back up
as a
against the
result,
wall,
and my son,
all the odds
he was,
against me.
following my
But
footsteps.
like I
He
say, my
became
mother and father
a
made the
sheriff
difference.
officer, and
From
then
criminal to
corrections,
crime
he
fighter
decided that
in
wasn't for
Elizabeth
him,
Odyssey.
and
This is the
I
Sunday
called my
Star
connect, and
Ledger,
now he's
2
a
pages
longshoreman for
on
the
a
past
Sunday.
3 years,
So
coming
a
November.
lot of cops hated me
That's a
for it
good job.
because they're like,
Yes,
how did he
Yes,
become a
doing
cop?
well. He making that long money.
Why is
He
he a
just
cop?
coming back from
Because
Colombia,
my
Costa Rica, Mexico.
upbringing was
He's all
different
over
from
the
theirs.
place.
He's having
But
fun.
as I
And
tell him,
it says
you
former
gotta
delinquent
relax,
honored for
build your
service
stacks
as a
back
police
up so
officer.
you can,
Today, Darin Williamson, this is
continue
back
to
in
travel.
2000.
He's been to
Right
places
when
I
this
wanted to
article
go.
was
But
written
it's
by
one
the
of those
Star
things,
Ledger, and I came
my
on the job
son
in
is
'93.
doing things
So
that I
today,
wanted to do,
Darin
but
Williamson
we
is a
always
highly
want our
honored Elizabeth
offspring
police officer
that we're
who
blessed with to do
received
better than
30
us.
commendations,
And he's doing
exemplary
that.
service,
I'm happy to hear
and
that.
is
Making the money,
considered an
stacking the
upright
paper, and he's
role model
traveling
for the
the
city
world.
kids.
happy to hear that.
But
Never
there's
give me any
numerous
problems
childhood
that I have given
run-ins
my mother and father. So
with law
it all
enforcement,
started
growing
from
up in the McGlory Manor
my
housing
humble
projects in
beginnings,
Elizabeth,
and as you
where it
would
started
see this article
for a
here,
story
which the Star
that
Ledger
seemed to
had
be destined
written
for a
about
tragic
me
ending.
in 2000.
Williamson
from criminal to crime fighter
was
in
chosen
Elizabeth Odyssey.
for the
It
Department's
wasn't
Safe Net
always
program,
perfect
which
or right.
assigns officers
So,
to specific
if you
areas
mind,
in
I
the
can read a
city
little
in
bit of
order to
this.
foster a relationship with
My
the
life
residents.
is very different
He said
from others
Williamson
because I came
was
up
a
against
natural
the
for the
grind,
job
back up
because
against
he
the
had
wall,
rapport with
all
the people in the
odds against
community.
me.
The things
But
Williamson
like I say,
is
my mother
selling
and father
in
made
the
the
way he
difference.
deals with people
From
and
criminal
relates to them.
crime fighter in
He
Elizabeth
has an
Odyssey.
easy
This
manner
is the Sunday
and
Star
can go
Ledger,
into any
2
difficult
pages
situation
on a
without
Sunday.
aggravating it.
So a lot
He
of cops
calms
hated me
things
for it
down.
because they're
In
like,
our
how
line of
did he
business,
become
that
a
means a
cop?
lot, Mahan said.
Why is he a cop?
As might be expected,
Because
Williamson
my
is also tough.
upbringing was
He
different from
represented the
theirs.
New Jersey
And it
AAU
says former
boxing
delinquent honored for
team
service as a
and won
police
the New
officer.
Jersey
Today,
Golden
Darin
Gloves
Williamson, this is
1980
back
and
in
81,
2000,
reaching the
right when this
finals.
article was written by the Star
Two-time
Ledger.
Golden Glove
And I came
champ,
on the
fought in
job
the
in
Nationals.
93. So today, Darin Williamson is a
and
highly
was qualified
honored
for the
Elizabeth
Olympic
police
trials
officer
back then also.
who
So my skills is up
30
to par.
accommodations,
I
exemplary
used to fight on the
service,
streets,
and is
but when I
considered
got
an
into the
upright
ring,
role
I
model
had
for
to
the
learn
city kids.
technique
But
and
his
force
numerous
myself to do
childhood
the hard
run-ins
physical conditioning required
with
to
law
succeed, he
enforcement,
said.
growing up in
Boxing
the McGlory Manor
taught me
housing
that
projects
I
in
was a winner.
Elizabeth
It
was a
showed me
start
that I
for
could
a story
achieve anything I set my
that
mind
seemed to
to.
be destined for a tragic ending. Williamson was chosen for the department's Safe Net program, which assigns officers to specific areas in the city in order to foster a relationship with the residents. He said Williamson was a natural for the job because he had rapport with the people in the community. The things Williamson is selling in the way he deals with people and relates to them. He has an easy manner and can go into any difficult situation without aggravating it. He calms things down. In our line of business, that means a lot, Mahan said. As might be expected, Williamson is also tough. He represented the New Jersey AAU boxing team and won the New Jersey Golden Gloves 1980 and 81, reaching the finals. Yes.
You a boxer? You a
Two-time Golden Glove champ, fought in the
Really?
Nationals, and was qualified for the Olympic trials back then also. So my
Wow.
skills is up to par.
Okay.
I used to fight on the streets, but when I got into the ring, I had to learn technique and force myself to do the hard physical conditioning required to succeed, he said. Boxing taught me that I was a winner. It showed me that I could achieve anything I set my mind to.
Wow.
That's a great article. 2 pages on a Sunday, the Star Ledger, you know, and so that's a part of my life. See, you didn't know.
No.
But
Like seeing you, we go to the same church.
Yes.
Seeing you, I've always seen you, quiet, upstanding, strong.
right,
About your business.
indeed,
And to know all of it, that part of the story is amazing.
indeed.
Like I would have never seen that. So you had your parents, you had your faith. You were a part of Islam for a while.
Yes.
How did that help you? I know they were very disciplined, right?
Well, most of my friends, believe it or not, when I was growing up, this was majority of them that came out of Yardsville, Annandale, Broadway State Prison,
Oh, wow.
and they would, some of them, if they wasn't lifers, I was out there hanging out with them. This is why I went astray. But I was like, these guys getting out of prison, I was beating them up. I was like, what? You gonna take whose shoes? You in what army? And I take on a whole bunch of them. That was my mentality back then. I don't have that mentality now. I'm more peaceful, more positive, not about the violence. You know, I'm trying to educate the kids, and that's what I have become a motivator in school, and also in the papers. They have several articles on me motivating the kids just as well in schools. You know, and so this is in Spanish? Spanish, right? Yes. But there's more documented things that I have here that I've been celebrated for.
Tell me about this.
Well, these are my mentors, my hero. Here you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor. There's Jim Brown. There's Muhammad Ali. You know, and these are great men back in the day, but they inspired me. You know, they wired to inspired me to change my life, because as Muhammad Ali, his slogan was, "I am the greatest." So I was like, wow, that inspired me, showing me that I can be great too. And here's a picture of me when I first won the Golden Gloves.
How old are you here?
I was 16. Actually, I believe I was 15. I wasn't even old enough to fight in the gloves. I lied and told them I was 16, because I'm like, I can beat all these guys.
Beat them, so
I can beat the best of them. You know, this guy here, Dave Brown, he had fought Hector Camacho at the time.
Oh, wow.
You know, and he had fought Marvin Hagler. So these guys, they've been around.
Good.
I was with a whole bunch of good pugilist boxers, you know. But that's a part of my life. And, you know, coming up, former stars speak up at high school. I have all kinds of articles. You can take all this with you, so if you want to go ahead and look at it and see that I made arrests of murderers and brought them in, and also as a peace officer, you know, have won the Valor Award twice.
Okay.
In your career, if you get it once, that's a lot. I told him I don't need it a third time, you know.
So all of this is culminating to make you who you are today. Peaceful.
Yes.
Leader. It's like I said, when I see you, you're reserved.
Yes. But
you walk with an air of, I got it. You know what I mean?
Well, couldn't do it without my queen.
Okay.
My beautiful wife. We've been together 38 years. We'll be married October the 20th, 34 years.
Congratulations.
Yes, it's a blessing, you know, to survive EPD. You know, when I was on the job for my 30-year juncture, there was like 6, 7 suicides. Wow. They don't talk about that. That's the other side of the coin. Now you hear them talking about it.
To that, right? How, as a black man in Elizabeth Police Department, coming up through the ranks, was it difficult?
It wasn't easy.
Okay.
It wasn't easy. I did some different things beyond the grain of the department. And, you know, but it was better for me because I grew up in the community, and everybody that was committing these crimes, I knew their family.
Okay, so you had a connection, relational.
Yes, I had a report, and even if I didn't, one way or another, I wasn't losing.
Okay.
You know, and I figured, hey, well, and listen, I'll try to talk to you, and I had that verbal judo, you know, knew how to treat somebody the way I want to be treated, even in being in a bad situation, and they respected me for that. I went in places, shots fired, and everything else.
Well, how does that affect you mentally? Like, you go into situations like these high pressure situations,
right,
where you got to diffuse, or you see somebody who's really hurting and they need help, but they don't know they need help. How did you process that going?
Well, it was natural for me because I was the defender of the people even before that. If you notice, there's a picture of me and one of my mentors, Salam Ismail. Look at the shirt I had on. They tried to black out. What shirt is that?
Who is that?
Malik El-Haj-Shabazz, Malcolm X.
That's Malcolm X.
You know,
right,
so I was
tried to lighten it up. That's Chris.
No, they did that accidentally on purpose. You know, but as I say, I was in the struggle just as well, an advocate. You know, with the United Youth of New Jersey, I was Al Sharpton's one of his security guards when he was 500 pounds or so. You know, I was that guy that was there for him. I was a part of BCAP, Black Cops Against Police Brutality, and I couldn't bite the hand that was feeding me, so I had to back it up, son. You know, I had to wind it in because they see you too militant, and then you become
an enemy.
Yes, and then being a part of the FOI, the Fruit of Islam, the Nation of Islam, that's a taboo to them. So you notice I came up against the grind different from anybody else that was spoon-fed or guided in a different direction, because my thing was, consciousness of the African people, of the African American people, and we stand strong. And
So you were able to keep your identity,
yes,
in a arena where that was almost put to the side.
exactly.
That's admirable, because a lot of people, in life in America, there's a lot of careers that we want or things that we want to achieve, but the arena isn't for people like us.
Yes.
Right? But for you to be able to have your integrity, still be who you are, stand for who you are, but understand that there's a time and a place for everything. I think it's something valuable that everybody could.
Yes.
can take from
And the
that.
most important thing, I also had a rep in the community for feeding the people.
Okay.
I'll go to the food distribution places, I'll fill up my SUV and I'll be feeding people all day. So some of the cops said, he ain't no cop, he ain't arresting people. So it wasn't always
But a cop isn't just
about
arresting,
them, it's about rescuing them. I said, what would Jesus do? And so I recall they used to talk about me all the time, but it came a time when COVID kicked in, and then the same people who were talking against me was like, can you give me some food so I can take care of my family and the people in my neighborhood?
And the coin flipped.
It flipped. And so I was on that type of thing to where I'm going to make it happen.
Wow.
I'm going to do it because in the place where I go, we have Dr. Lawrence Powell.
Yes.
And he educates you, your spirit. He fills you up. And I've been going there when they were in the school.
Yes.
I started going there back in '98.
So what was the transition from being in the food of Islam to Christianity?
Well, the transition was I had to think for myself, because my father told me he was my best teacher. He gave me my first autobiography of Malcolm X. And he said, and I used to have the brothers with the bean pies and the papers, the final calls, come to the house and all this. And I was, yes, sir, and all this. My father said, cut all that out, son. I need to have a conversation with you. These same guys that's the ministers and reverends and all this, I remember them when I was growing up. They used to rob people. They used to steal. They used to womanize, do all this and that. He said, you just be a good person. And besides, all that they're showing you is against a certain race of people. And he said, you should love everybody.
Yes.
If a person is good to you, that's what you get back. Good.
Good.
He said, you don't hate a person because of their color. And that made me think different. And so that
was the start of the transition.
Yes,
Coming out.
and so I left the Nation of Islam, but I started going to the masjid where they make salat 5 times a day. Make your prayers. Pray towards the east 5 times a day. You offer your salat. And so on top of that, I've never tried to convert or change my wife. I just did it because guess what? It stopped me from going to the streets. It stopped me from doing wrong. It stopped me from doing the things that were against the law.
Yeah.
Yes, and it built me up, and my wife, as you know, have supported me through all my fiascos. I'm telling you, person want to know how you got to be to where you are now. It wasn't easy. You had many peaks and valleys.
What are some lessons that you learned throughout your clearly illustrious career?
Yes.
From Golden Gloves boxer to bodyguard to Al Sharpton.
Yes,
to
and I've become a vocal minister throughout, the youth throughout the community, in the schools, and I'm called
you do this
upon.
now too.
I never stop, never stop, and I have, this one here, invites. I was the dare officer. I was the hip hop cop to the kids. I was the dare officer for years. They had me going throughout, I would say, the city and state, and I would actually motivate the kids. And I'll have things, I'll start off, giving them greetings. Assalamu alaikum, those in the hood, what's up? How you doing? And saying many things that I have here.
You have
Is it okay if I break it down?
Yeah, many notes here. Yeah.
Yes. And I will start with the kids. Are you smarter than a 5th grader? Is it better to be popular or smart? Celebrated and not tolerated. We recognize your greatness. It takes a whole village to raise a child. Your parents, the teachers, the police. We'd rather you be a part of the Hall of Fame and not the Wall of Shame. And how to become leaders. We believe that the children are the future. Education is your key and your passport to the future. It allows you to be in the right place at the right time, allow you to be prospects and not suspects, and classmates and not cellmates. We actually like to take your million dollar dreams and your $5 skills and enhance them, huh? How many of you want to be rich?
And
Throw the money at them and they be all grabbing for it, right? And I said it's all about decisions and choices. As a result, there's penalties and consequences. There's no shortcuts or magic pills to success. The only way to get there is hard work. Doing the right thing is a small price to pay towards coming to success. Who was the one that say, I have a dream? Martin Luther King, you know? And so
how does this affect the kids?
Like, they be motivated. And you know, and like I say, once again, it come down, what are you about? You about the money, the power, or the respect? I said my money is tight, but it's right. I don't have to look in back of my head figuring out who's coming, you know, at me or what have you. But we have the hip hop era. Some people out there want to be wanksters / gangsters. Some of them have a good lifestyle or a death style. For instance, in the hip hop genre, what we have? I should have had my stuff organized.
No, you're good.
But I'm coming at you.
We got a lot here.
I'm coming at you.
We got a lot,
you know.
here.
But I should have just. But here we go. All right. And the hip hop. Some of us want to be wanksters / gangsters. Some of us have a lifestyle. Some of us have the death style as a result. We have, you know, we have 50 Cent. 50 Cent been shot 9 times, and he's our role model, but 50 Cent ain't nothing but chump change. What was the name of his CD or album? And he wearing a bulletproof vest as a result of being shot 9 times. The name of his CD, first one, was Get Rich and Die Trying. We want you to get rich, but we don't want you to die in the process. We look at this thing here because, you know, we have lost some of the biggest rappers in our generation. Biggie, Tupac, Jam Master Jay, Heavy D, Left Eye, Aaliyah, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Prince, Gerald Levert, Kurt Cobain, Paul Walker. They all had one thing in common. They all got rich and they all died trying. Are we there yet? Not quite. Because the music industry, also we have labels, like cigarette labels, have cancer, may cause, you know.
Ear-mouth cancer. No,
yes.
Yeah.
You know, carbon monoxide. That's like sucking on the back of somebody's pipe, you know. But we have Murder Inc., Death Row, Def Jam, Bad Boys, Naughty by Nature, Corrupt, Outkast, Ludacris, DMX. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. The mind is a terrible thing to waste, you know, because many of our rappers out there trying to be gang members. Some of them Bloods, Gucci Man, Lil Wayne, Lil Bird, Waka Flocka, J-Rock, Suge Knight, Snoop Doggy Dogg is a crip for sizzle but chisel, my nizzle. You know, you silly rabbit tricks are for kids, you know. But we want you to go graduate from elementary to high school, go to college, get your MA, your BA, your PhD, and forget all that BS in the street, the belief system, huh? We want you to go to Harvard or Yale, not jail. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we come for you? But like myself, I grew up in the McGlory Manor housing projects. And, you know, I had to be in the house before the street lights came down so I can go in the, get in there and do my book report so I could get a good grade in school. And so I stayed on the 3rd floor in the McGlory Manors, you know, housing projects. And my friends used to walk by, you can't come outside. 30 years later, I walk by the county jail. I'll go up 7 or 8 floors. Now you can't come outside. They all locked down doing basketball numbers, you know, because your choice. You must have a voice in order to do the right thing. Like I say, doing the right thing is a small price to pay towards coming to success. But we look at this here because you must be wired to inspire. You know, I can remember we had a station wagon back then. It was 7 of us, 6 boys, 1 girl. and we go through the Golden Arches. You know what I'm saying? Get
Mickey
the
D's
French
for all y'all
fries.
new kids.
Yeah, and Mom was like, "Well, then don't eat these French fries until we get home." You know, and so I couldn't help it because they smelled so good. They were scrumptious, and I just had to take one without the salt and pepper and the ketchup. Before we got home, there was only 3 left, and Mom said, "I thought I told you not to eat those until we got home." I said, "Mom, but they were so good." But don't you know that drugs are 1,000 times longer and stronger? That's an addiction that will take you out and wipe you out to where your life will never be the same. It changes you. You know, it maims you. It allows you to become someone different, someone else. So we have options in life. You know, don't settle. Create your own blueprint because you have a choice. If you go to school, you become the rule. And because we have those that don't get their education, they wind up working for, you know, like White Castles, Burger King, McDonald's. I ain't hating on McDonald's. You know I got to get my donuts with my coffee, you know what I'm saying? Or the car wash, careers. We want you to make a choice, you know, create your own blueprint. Because there was years ago we could not sit in the front of the bus, but now we can design the blueprint and not only ride in the front, but we can design and own, not only become the employee, but the employer. Huh? We become great, you know what I'm saying? But I can remember back in the day, you know, there was the Motown sound. And the Motown sound, I mean, your parents was raised on that. But who do we have back then? And before I get into that, and I used to say, before you go ahead, what does this represent in the street?
But
What does this represent in the street?
Crip.
Do not join anything that would attack or destroy someone else's property, huh? You know, or their life. So, but I get back to the Motown sound. We had the Supremes, the Temptations, the Four Tops, Smokey Robinson and the Miracle, Luther Vandross, love songs, Barry White, huh? But in the 90s, the new millennium, we have Little Kim, Little Wayne, Little John, Little Romeo, Little Richard, Little Boy, Little Cease, Little J, Babyface, Juvenile, Mature, The Brat, P. Diddy because he refused to be somebody's daddy, Destiny's Child. What is destiny? Destiny is the end of your journey, and if you still haven't got it right, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing? What we hear in our ear gates and we see out our eye gates is like HBO is symbolic to Hell's Box Office. Cinemax is symbolic to Sin to the Max. The rest is Showtime. But back in the day, we used to watch that One-Eyed Monster. You know what I'm saying? The Tell Live Vision. We only had Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 9, Channel 11.
Yep.
Might get 13. After that, it was the rainbow. You know what I'm saying? That was it. But
Yeah.
we have over 800 stations on the TV channel, 62-inch TV like a movie projector, and we talking about nothing's on. You know what I'm saying? Pick up a book. Learn that knowledge. Know the ledge, huh? The knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Understand you have that wisdom, that wise dome, that brain. Use it. You know, that's the strongest muscle that we have. But we also have some of these big moguls. We have Tyler Perry. We have Tiger Woods, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Venus and Serena, Beyonce. Boom. And I usually have balloons and I bust them. Boom. And they shot because of the noise. And I say, stay focused. Beware of people who want to stop you from achieving and accomplish your goals. Always put God first. Never give up. Find your purpose in life. We all have a divine assignment. Discipline your mind. What are you going to do in your life and how can you give back to your community? Stand for something or you fall for anything. Today's yesterday's is tomorrow's reality. You know, so as I say, we look at this here. Yesterday is history. Today's a mystery. Tomorrow's a gift. That's why we call it a present. So, you know, I usually give them jewels, and I have a lot more, but then again, I don't have them in front of me, so I can't get that energy right now.
We're good. That was good, man.
I just wanted to flow because it's all about the kids with me. You know, giving back to them, giving them a chance and showing them a better way to where they don't have to take some of the losses that I took. But they wasn't losses. It was lessons. I thank God for the lessons I consider blessing that keep me from guessing. So it put me on the straight and narrow path. The path, as they say, stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
I found to get out of everybody's way.
Okay.
And when I was on the job, it was like, guess what? You did something wrong. Guess what? You didn't see the smoke. You on the tracks. You about to get ran over. I'm coming at you. You know what I'm saying? And my slogan was like, fortunately, through this story here, this was written by Tappan Elizabeth News. Now, I had a shooting at the Now restaurant. There was something going on, and the owner came to me. Somebody's outside disturbing the peace and whatever. And I'm plain clothes, dressed up. And, you know, it's sort of like I go out there to talk to the guy. Turn around, boom, he got a .357 Magnum in my face.
Wow.
My mentality like, what? And I already had my badge in my hand. Now I grab my gun. I'm like, yo, drop the gun. And as he walking past, he's lowering it a little bit. And I'm like, man, I'm off duty. I don't want to have to kill this guy. I'm not here for that. You know, but it's all documented. It's recorded just as well. And said, Williamson showed his badge 5 minutes afterwards. There's 2 other guys up in front. And they have guns too. So I blast off, boom. 2 of them took off. This one I'm dealing with, now I'm wrestling with him, you know, while he still got the gun in his hand. And I'm like, I stay in shape.
Dangerous situation.
And I had to, boom, I had to execute, take him down. And as I took him down to the ground, I'm straddling over him. I'm like, you pick that gun up, said a few choice words, I'm gonna have to kill you. It's not in my heart to do that.
Yeah,
But the thing is, I'm like, I'm trying to go home. I came here to get a meal. I come out there shooting nobody, but I ain't trying to get shot neither. But in the interim, I locked him up as a, you know, and got the award, the Valor Award for that. And another one, me and my partner at the time, on this one, you can read the story. You can take all this with you. Gunther Graham at the time, we were dispatched to the Bayway housing projects of a man reported selling narcotics. So therefore, we went down there, description was given, we see eyesight, approached them, individual, we you know, detain them, pick up a Newport box, all kinds of valves and glassine valves and crack valves and everything in there. And all of a sudden, he started grabbing a bandana, a red bandana, never forget it, out of his pants area. And attached to that bandana was a gun. And he was getting the gun, now I had to execute, boom. And, you know, skills come into effect. You know,
does it click like really quick when you're in that?
It's automatic. You don't have time to think, you just act. But you're thinking also. But you like, I got to go home with my family.
Do you ever, so I don't know, like everybody has situations where they find themselves on the street. Do you ever find yourself empathizing with, like, you have to do your job, but you empathize with whatever struggle that they have going on? Well,
myself, I also, during my career, I also had a connect with Reverend Adair, who was the relocation officer. And I would get a lot of people housing just as well.
Oh, so
and I'll get them temporary. Yes, I send them to the right people. I'll send them to the welfare. And people call me disorderly people hanging out at the church or either the masjid or even in the streets. And I had connections with the people in welfare also. I'll send them and get them some assistance. Then they're like, you don't even speak English. I'll get them help just as well. They'll either give them a bus ticket where they need to go, give them food stamps, get them housing. And it was like an ongoing thing. This was a gift that I had. And the skills that I had and the talent and ability that I had, I utilized it. It was like amazing. But as an officer,
okay.
The respect was there. Say, if I'm out of uniform and a person don't know me, they'll treat me just like they treat the next black man. Okay. They'll walk across the street or either cringe their bag. But if you see me, in uniform, now you got total respect for me because you know it's not gonna go down like they think it's gonna go down. They're like, hey, we got somebody that's amongst us that's gonna protect us, that's gonna help us. And I've been
you tried to be
open.
a community cop.
But I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Okay.
Because I help so many people, and it drained me, you know, financially to an extent. But I was like, I'm not looking for anything back, but I'm like, enough is enough. And then you get people, oh, he's soft. They'll borrow a certain amount of money, you know, and not pay back. Can't say that too loud.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I'm like, it make me feel like I'm weak or I'm some kind of sucker. So I shut them all down. I start delete, block. Guess what? I'm not gonna take you to court. I'm not coming after you, but you can't come back over the same bridge.
Yeah.
You can't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah.
You know, if it's disrespect that you give me, I got to go ahead and sever
protect
that.
myself. Yeah.
Because here it is. I retired. I have a pension, and then after 19 months, they called me back on the job. We want you back. My wife, every time we went around, the chief and the director and the good folks said, we want him back. He was the best we had. He was that ace. He was that one on the board that we need. And so as a result, they created a job for me at the police headquarters, but I'm working for the Board of Education. It was, I would have been hired earlier, but they only wanted to offer me $40,000 to $45,000. My connect said, no, treat him like you're treating everybody else. Matter of fact, call him detective. That's who he is. You know, you call everybody else by their title, call him by his title, put some spec on his name. And so long and behold, they hired me back in February 16th, working at police headquarters, but I'm working for the Board of Education. They created a job out of nowhere. And so I'm working out of the radio room and dispatcher. And so therefore people were talking, he ain't this, he ain't that. But long and behold, I was there 3 months. By May 16th, 3 months later, you know, there's kids that I didn't know they were kids, but there's people running around the school with guns. I dispatched the SWAT team down there. They went down there and they had about 3 arrests, the people that were out there with guns and apprehensions. And as a result, I recently got an award for my observation of having these people caught with the guns also at the school. And it turned out to be Senior Assassination Day. They were replicas, but who knew from where my position is to watch the cameras, and they're like, he solidified his position. I got calls from, you know, the mayor, the chief, the director, the superintendent of schools. They were very proud of me by stopping something that could have been a tragedy. As you know, it was recently one in Georgia with 2 students and 2 teachers getting murdered, you know? So, as I say,
that's a wild thing to do for a prank.
Yes.
That's wild.
And they wound up getting suspended. Some went to jail also.
Oh, wow.
You know, and some was outsiders.
They weren't from the school.
2 were, and one of them wasn't. But I can show you how this transpired. I'm going back to May 16th. Let's see if this is the video that I can show you how. Let's see. Let's see if it's going.
It's playing.
Is it playing?
It was.
Let me get another one.
There you go.
I'll show you. But see, he got a gun. And they chasing. They got masks on also. And they cars and everything else going by. And they running up the cars with guns. And I see all this from my point of view. And so I'll show you once it stops again. I'll show you how that goes. See, this guy got a gun here. He got a gun here. And I see all this. And there's 100 cameras for me to look at, but I'm looking at this particular one at that particular time when there's gun activity. And this guy, I'm like, whoa, almost fell out of my chair. Had to rewind, and he's running out with a gun. And I was like, boom, SWAT team went down there, everybody executed, made arrests. And then as a result, I got an accommodation for that. I was like, but they were like, I told you we got the right guy. Oh, his 85,000. Matter of fact, give him a raise. You know
Give him
what I'm saying?
more.
Give him
He's
raise.
doing his job.
Give him a raise. And so it's like God has put me in a place to do what I do. I've been doing this for, this is part of my life. You've seen how it started out. And this is like unlike any interview you're going to do, because nobody going to have the opportunity to be the cop or want to be a cop after being in gangs and been
anything is
arrested
possible.
numerous times and everything else. But I always knew that religion and righteousness would change me. So I feel bad if I miss church. I feel bad if I miss the masjid. I'm praying all the time. I ain't got time for it. I told my wife, and she know I've been a knucklehead, but she weathered the storm with me for 30 years on the job. And so as a result, I retired at 57. So by May, she'll be 57. I'll be retiring her, And so also, I was showing you something here. There's a pink card that I had up here.
Pink
Not
card.
here. My wife also have a cake business, and she'll be doing that full time instead of part time, And so she started that maybe beginning of COVID and sold over 2,000 cakes. We have incorporated with businesses and everything, and it's great product.
That's dope, man.
Hopefully you can become a customer also.
For sure.
Indeed.
Birthday coming up anyway.
We have great things going on, and I've been around with getting awards all over. Enough is enough. This is a organization in Newark that's about all the gun violence and everything else.
So you went from being in the street
Yes.
to being the cop that the street can seek for protection
And truly respect.
and truly respect.
Yes.
That's like
And then when you retired, and then they pull you back
they
in.
pull you back in
They're like,
because
no,
you were doing
we.
so good, but you were diligent with what God gave you. You were
Right.
diligent in your faith. And I had issues because I have my heart on my sleeve too. I truly care about people.
Yes.
For a long time, I thought it was a flaw. I thought I was a weakness. Like I shouldn't be like this. I need to be tough. Guys are tough. Until one day I realized it's not my job to try to be something that I'm not.
Right.
Because somebody takes advantage of you, that's their problem. It's not mine.
Yes.
And I can forgive you. I won't let you do the same thing again.
Right.
I can forgive you, but I had to understand for myself that I'm not the bad guy in the situation if I truly care about somebody.
Exactly.
I only become the bad person if I continue to let that happen without setting the boundaries for myself. So, I mean, like I said, these are things that you learn through life. You learn through lessons. You did a complete 180 with your life.
Yes.
You got the respect of the streets. Got the respect of the police.
Yes.
Went through, an illustrious career. Different aspects.
Right.
From Islam to Christianity. But
Yes.
you always maintain your faith. You always maintained who you are. What is the thing you're most proud about?
What I'm proud about, number one, living. Number two, that I survive in my marriage, that I have a good wife, a praying wife. One that all the things and the difficulties and the trials and tribulations, she always had my back. Sometimes it wasn't easy. Sometimes it was very, very hard. 38 years we had family members that passed, and we became family and merged and learned how to share one another's family. But we keep outsiders on the outside, because if you have everybody in your business,
They split you apart.
you can't operate.
Yeah.
You can't operate accordingly. And so, like me and my wife, we just last month we had a vacation to Vegas.
Vegas is nice. I love
And
Vegas.
the day we got back, she said, "Hey, we had so much a good time. We booked another vacation to Bahamas on a cruise. So on our 34th wedding anniversary, October 20th, we'll be going to the Bahamas. As soon as we come back from there, we going Cozumel somewhere.
Oh, wow.
We just
Have
gonna
fun, man.
have fun. It's
Enjoy
about
life.
because I'm like all that I've
You've done
accomplished
so
and
much.
accumulated with my 401k plus what I have in the bank. I'm sitting on $500,000. I'm like, it's time that we gonna enjoy this, and I ain't leaving nothing on the table except for my grandkids, because my son is set up. He's a longshoreman, and my wife was like, What about my daughter? So I called the senator crying. I got connects,
Yeah.
you know, and my daughter's working at the courthouse in Union County Courthouse for about 3 years also.
Oh.
So when I take care of my family, and I have an older daughter, Sheena, she's a mother taking care of her son, which is named after me, Darin also, you know, and her baby Genuine, and loyal Malcolm, who passed. But as I say, I love them all.
So you're proud of your family, you're proud of...
Yes.
What you've established here is great, but
Indeed.
what you've established here
Right.
is what you're most proud of.
And like, my father was tough, he was rough, but he was with me to his last day. He was 62 when he passed. I'm 59. But the thing is, I look at it, I had to share cereal boxes. We used to fight over cereal, you know, who gonna get their portion of the food or you're not gonna eat. It was rough. It wasn't always easy. So it was a game of survival, you know, at times. You know, you wasn't getting nothing brand new. You getting handy down secondhand. But I learned, and even tonight, I have a hook in the connect, which I work with missionaries on a mission, and I gotta go pick up the food tonight at 9 o'clock, and I feed people all the time. I have so much food and everything else for them. I have a flyer also.
Send it.
I'll get it to you about, you know, me working with these organizations, and they put me on as, they say, no, you the CEO, because I'm bringing most of the food from my aspect, from my connects, and they have what they have. But as I say, we feeding the people.
Yes.
We feeding the people. I did this for over 30 years, but I'm not asking for a dime. I'm already getting paid. I work. And even having my pension is just a blessing. So we have officers that's trying to retire now going to the mayor talking about, I want Darin's job. I want Detective Williamson's job. The mayor said, I ain't got nothing to do with that. This is all God. So I know, and they like, here, why don't you give me your connect? I'm like, man, you ain't talked to me in 30 years. Now you want my connect?
Now you want to help?
You get no respect. So get on, you know. As I say, some people want to jump on the bandwagon, but I'm like, if you wasn't treating me real good when I was in the hood and on the job, now you trying to get brand new because I have status and I've been blessed with these connections. I'm like, just keep it just like that, because I'm tired of getting stepped on, you know, because you have those that have ulterior motives and secret agendas to do what they do for them, not for you or for the people, for themselves. I've never been about myself,
about
you
community.
know, but I'm about the community. But there's one thing that I read in the autobiography of Malcolm X, the one and only book that my father gave me. There was one thing that I read the whole book, but there's one thing that I understood. Malcolm had one regret. Know what that regret was? He wished he would spend more time with his family. And that's what I do. I spend time with my family. No regrets. At the time when I told you in the Star Ledger how the police took my mother to the hospital when her water broke. No buses, no cabs running. Mom said, might have been in a bar somewhere. But the police took me to the hospital, escorted me to the hospital. I was born to do this job, man. You know what I'm saying?
Literally born to do the job.
And I've seen some stuff. Wow. I had bullets come at me in curve. I've seen some stuff. Wow. I took guns out of people's hands, you know, and I never hurted nobody. I had something right up in front here. It was saying, just read this here. Williamson, just the caption of it. You don't mind?
Yeah, you can read the caption.
Okay. Williamson showed his badge to 5 men after he was asked to check on them while he was eating at a restaurant. That's the Now restaurant.
Yeah.
No longer there. But Imam Wolf D. Muhammad used to go there a lot also. He would then shoot his gun once, and one of the suspects pulled out a gun, and no one was injured in the incident. 3 of them had guns, Williamson said, who worked at the Elizabeth apartment for 25 years at the time. So I had to go ahead and let a projectile, that's a bullet, out in order to protect myself, to get myself out of harm's way. The other men ran away. He fired his gun. Williamson said of the March 2016 incident, I had the opportunity, you know, to neutralize them. That means to
take them out.
Take them out. but it's not in my heart to go out there and take what God put out here.
Wow.
You know?
So you show restraint.
Indeed. And, you know, it takes a lot because
This is a life and death situation.
But not only that, this happened around 9 o'clock. By the time, you know, they was evaluating me, making sure I was okay in the hospital and everything else, and the news is on, a detective, plain clothes, had got shot in friendly fire. An hour later, producing his badge, is another black man, officer, bit the dust. An hour later, and they were showing this happened in PA because I was looking at the news at the time. I'm like, wow, could have been me. But God has covered me, protected me. I always pray that God, the angels work overtime for me.
They do.
They on double time,
Yeah.
triple time.
Well,
you know, all this you can take what you check it out for yourself.
I'm definitely going to take video of it
Yes,
and
yes.
document some of it. But thank you for your time. Your story is
Wow.
amazing.
And thank you for allowing me to elaborate.
Of course.
You know,
Like I said, I see you, but I've
and notice I do security
Yeah.
in the front at the church for the past umpteen years. You know, I've been there since '98, but they selected me to be up there for at least the past 16 years in
As
uniform.
long as I've been there.
Yes. How long you been there?
About 16 years.
Yeah. And before then, you always seen me, and I would come in there and never had an issue or altercation. Everything was cool. Always had a police vehicle out there in the front, and I was like, hey, listen, this show nobody gonna come in here acting the fool.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be holy and blessed.
Again, thank you for coming on, and I hope you guys are inspired by his story. Inspired that literally anybody can change their lives and make
Yes.
something out of it. You are the prime example of living life to the fullest.
If you believe
Dying
in
empty.
God, all is possible.
Anything.
And you see that's why, and sometimes you get tired of people just using and abusing. You just gotta back up, delete and block, delete and block.
Get them out of here.
You know, I'm like, and then they get mad. And then if you don't give them what they want, they still gonna get mad. But guess what?
Yeah,
Don't
let
get
it go.
mad, get glad. Because I'm with God. I
Let
ain't
it
saying.
go. I'm good with God.
You know what I'm saying?
Again, thank you. As always, my name is Saif. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope it inspired you and motivated you, and reach out. I'm sure if you want more information, his information is going to be on the thing. So reach out on social media and make it happen.
Yes.
As always, love you guys. I'll post all of this. Love you guys. Stay motivated. Peace.
Peace.
You've just been listening to Daily Grind with Saif. We hope you stay encouraged and motivated. Now get on your grind. Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps us out.